The spring sky over Boise was a flawless blue, the kind that made you believe in new beginnings. Gardeners had sculpted the lawns of the sprawling Caldwell estate into emerald perfection, ready for the 30,000 souls flooding in for the spring jubilee. For Ethan Caldwell, it was a day pregnant with promise, a mirror to the life growing inside his wife Nora Blake. Hand in hand, they wandered the vibrant grounds, Ethan's arm a protective shield around Nora's swelling waist. At 32, Nora glowed, her confidence unshaken by pregnancy. Still, Ethan's hazel eyes scanned the crowd, wary of overexcited kids who might jostle her in their joy. "Our little miracle's coming," he thought, pride swelling in his chest. Then a shout pierced the air. The crowd surged toward the commotion, laughter and cheers erupting. They parted to reveal Lucas M. Caldwell, the magnetic CEO of Caldwell Global Ventures. At 41, Lucas was a vision in a tailored navy suit, his pastel tie and pocket square nodding to the spring theme. Fortune had just crowned him Visionary of the Year, and it showed. His security team struggled to hold back the eager throng as Lucas waved to Ethan and Nora. "How's my favorite team today?" he called, his voice cutting through the noise. Nora flashed a radiant smile, thumbs up high. Lucas winked, then knelt to charm a gaggle of kids, handing out branded gift bags, posing for photos with the balance of authority and warmth. Ethan shook his head, half annoyed, half awed. Only Lucas could turn a festival into his personal stage. As Lucas worked, the crowd trailed by a swarm of photographers. Ethan grinned. The man was a master showman. Nora spotted colleagues from Caldwell Ventures and tugged Ethan toward them. But before they could reach the group, Nora gasped, doubling over in pain. She crumpled to the grass, her face twisted in agony. Ethan dropped beside her, cradling her head. "Nora, what's wrong? Talk to me." Her spring dress bloomed with a dark red stain, and terror seized him. "Help, we need a doctor," he screamed. The crowd parted like a choreographed dance, and Lucas appeared, his charm replaced by steely resolve. "Get the chopper ready!" St. Luke's, Boise, now he barked at an aide. Security swarmed in, gently lifting Nora, brushing Ethan aside as they rushed her through the throng. Ethan stumbled after them, heart pounding. The trek across the estate felt endless, though it took mere minutes. A company helicopter, blades whirring, waited on the estate's helipad. Nora was loaded inside, and Ethan scrambled aboard just as the skids lifted. A firm hand, Lucas's, pulled him in. Ethan knelt by Nora, clutching her hand as Boise's skyline blurred outside. The flight stretched into eternity. But finally, the chopper touched down at St. Luke's rooftop helipad. A medical team with a stretcher whisked Nora away, leaving Ethan dazed on the roof. A nurse guided him through sterile corridors to a waiting room where fear and helplessness gnawed at him. For 2 hours, Ethan paced again. At last, a doctor in a white coat called Caldwell. "Ethan Caldwell." He rushed over. "How is she?" The doctor. Dr. Emily Hart led him to a quiet hallway. "I'm Nora's OB-GYN. She's stable now. We'll keep her overnight, but barring complications, you can take her home tomorrow." Relief flooded Ethan, tears stinging in eyes. But it didn't last. "The baby?" he asked. Dr. Hart's face was unreadable. "I'm so sorry, Ethan. Nora miscarried. She lost the baby." The words were a knife to his heart, twisting deep. Why, how Dr. Hart's voice softened. About 15 to 20% of pregnancies end in miscarriage. Many women don't even know they're pregnant when it happens. You and Nora did nothing wrong. Most women who miscarry go on to have healthy babies. This isn't the end. She touched his arm. Focus on her recovery. You can see her now. Ethan followed to Nora's room, peering in. She slept, her face etched with sorrow, yet still breathtaking to him. He kissed her forehead. "I love you, Nora. "We'll get through this," he whispered, then left. Back home in Nampa, darkness had fallen. Ethan hadn't eaten since breakfast but couldn't face food. He collapsed onto the deck chair, staring into the night. Nora was safe, but the loss of their child clawed at him, dragging up memories. He'd longed for a child longer than Nora, who'd insisted they build their careers first. When she finally agreed, conception didn't come easily. Doctors deemed them healthy, prescribing only patience and practice. Now, after the miracle of pregnancy, this crushing blow. The cold night air snapped him back. He recalled meeting Nora at 25, fresh from Boise State's law school. Instead of joining a firm, he'd chased a vision drawn to Lucas M. Caldwell, the dynamic CEO of Caldwell Global Ventures. Lucas's bold innovation and pragmatic leadership captivated Ethan. Both young Midwesterners, they clicked. When Lucas announced a global expansion, Ethan volunteered at the company's Meridian office. There, amid a whirlwind of activity, he saw Nora Blonde commanding on the phone in a glass-walled office. To him, she was a goddess, fierce and radiant. He waited until she hung up. "Who are you and what do you want?" she demanded. Stammering, he introduced himself as a volunteer. She thrust a list of 50 investors at him. "Call them, get the amounts listed. No isn't an option." Blushing, he obeyed. That night, the office quiet, Ethan returned. Nora's shoes-off feet on her desk looked exhausted, yet more alluring. "Called them all?" she asked. He nodded, reporting commitments. Her expression softened. "Good job," she said, almost maternal. When he hinted at bigger roles, she challenged his qualifications. "I'm a lawyer," he said. Her face flushed. "Why didn't you say so? We need legal counsel. Sit. Tell me about you." That spark ignited their bond. Nora, a key player in Lucas's expansion, rose with the company. Ethan admired her but kept his distance, respecting her professional boundary. After Lucas's triumphant Meridian strategy meeting, Nora warmed to him. They dated, married, as Caldwell Global became a business school case study. From a modest Boise base, Lucas defied skeptics, securing breakthroughs in Denver and Minneapolis, then dominating southern states and New England. His California deal sealed his industry leadership. Lucas's New England success wasn't luck. At Yale Law, he'd wooed Amelia Caldwell, descendant of a founding father and daughter of Henry Caldwell, a legendary strategist and Hamilton Trust chair. Their marriage was less love, more merger, Henry's influence propelling Lucas's rise. International markets fell easily, Lucas's charisma outshining rivals. Ethan and Nora moved to Caldwell's new Boise HQ, Nora, as Lucas's trusted advisor, managing delicate deals to amplify his star. Ethan, wary of Lucas's demand for loyalty, joined a Boise law firm instead. "One of us needs a normal life," he joked, but he sensed dissent rarely survived in Lucas's orbit. Shivering, Ethan checked the deck thermometer, 40 degrees. Spring nights in Boise could bite. He crawled into bed, setting an alarm for St. Luke's. Morning found Nora awake, April sunlight on her face, but her eyes carried raw grief. Ethan hugged her, her response faint, a wound deeper than his own. Her distance stung, but he vowed to be her rock. A massive bouquet filled the room's corner. "From Lucas and Amelia," Nora said flatly. Ethan checked the card personal signatures, wishing her recovery. As he arranged her discharge, a nurse suggested spare clothes. Nora asked him to step out while she changed her request, a quiet dagger. Outside, Dr. Hart reassured him. "Physically, she's healing, but miscarriage disrupts hormones, compounding emotional trauma. Be patient. Time's the best medicine, but if her mood doesn't lift, we can explore medication." Her words were a lifeline, but heavy with warning. Driving home, Ethan swore to support Nora. The following days tested him. His optimism buoyed him through his grief, but Nora retreated, spending hours alone, barely speaking, shunning his touch. After a week, she declared herself physically fine and returned to work, but emotionally, she was a ghost, functional yet cold. Her absence carved a hollow in him. Friends suggested depression, urging patience. The lack of intimacy weighed heavier. One night, he broached their private life. Nora's eyes flashed. "If I never sleep with you again, I'll die happy," she snapped, fleeing to lock herself in their room, sobbing. Her words, though not meant, seared him. Lying awake, Ethan reflected. Nora's passion had always been quieter than her disinterest in foreplay, unusual but accepted. He loved her enough to adapt, but now her rejection felt like exile. Desperate, he booked an appointment with Dr. Hart. That afternoon, he poured out Nora's symptoms. Dr. Hart nodded. "It sounds like postpartum depression, common after miscarriage. I'll prescribe Prozac, it works fast for PPD." As she wrote, Ethan's suppressed loss erupted. "Why did we lose the baby? We did everything right." Dr. Hart sighed. "It could be chromosomal issues, an immune response, or undetected factors. Sometimes a prior abortion," Ethan cut in. "Abortion, Nora never had one." Dr. Hart flipped through Nora's file. She had a vacuum aspiration in February 2012. Stunned, Ethan reached for the file. Dr. Hart pulled it back. "HIPAA laws forbid sharing her records without her written consent." "I'm her husband," he roared. "That was my child." She shook her head. "I'm sorry." Driving home, Ethan's mind churned. How could Nora hide an abortion? Why, when they were trying for a child? At home, he beat Nora's return. Her work hours had grown since the miscarriage, and now he wondered if she was avoiding him. When her car pulled in at 8 p.m., he confronted her. "Why did you have an abortion 2 years ago?" Nora's eyes widened, face flushing. "What I never did. Who told you that?" Dr. Hardy said. "She's lying," Nora screamed, bolting to their room, slamming the door. Her sobs echoed through it. Ethan sank into his office chair, head in hands. What was happening to them? Nora didn't emerge that night. Next morning, her door stayed locked. Ethan went to work, disheveled, barely functional. By evening, Nora greeted him calmly, as if nothing had happened. They ate in silence, tension gnawing at him. "We need to talk," he ventured. "Nothing to say," she cut in. "I didn't have an abortion. That's it." She left for her office. Twice more, he tried getting the same reply. Finally, he offered the Prozac prescription. Nora took it, glanced at him coldly, tore it up and tossed it in the trash. Her dismissal crushed him. That night, sleepless beside her, Ethan felt more lost than when they'd lost the baby. Dark circles marked his eyes by morning, but he dragged himself to work directionless. At lunch, he ate mechanically, tasting nothing. His assistant interrupted. "Visitor from Caldwell Global Enterprises." Puzzled, Ethan stood as Clara Monroe, a striking woman in her 30s, entered. Her short black hair and tailored suit exuded confidence. "I'm Clara Monroe, Executive Security at Caldwell Global," she said, shaking his hand. "Amelia Caldwell requests a meeting today." Stunned, Ethan stammered. "Why me?" Clara smiled. "She'll explain. I'll drive you now." Curiosity won. He followed her to a sleek black SUV. As they navigated Boise's streets, Clara glanced at him. "My condolences on your loss." Ethan stiffened. "You know about that?" "Yes, I was on security at the Jubilee helping escort Nora to the chopper." Embarrassed, Ethan rubbed his neck. "I wasn't paying attention then. Thanks." Clara shrugged. "It's my job." Softening, she added, I hope to be a mom someday. Married? He asked, instantly regretting it. She chuckled. Not yet. Thought I found the one, but he was a player. Someday I'll meet my match. At the Caldwell estate, Clara flashed ID at the gate parking near the mansion's east entrance. She led Ethan up a grand staircase to Amelia's private office. Clara knocked, ushering him in. Amelia, poised at her desk, rose with a warm smile. "Ethan Caldwell," she said, shaking his hand. She gestured to armchairs by a coffee table. "Let's sit there. More comfortable." Her tone grew serious. "How's Nora recovering?" Ethan hesitated, guarding their turmoil. "She's healing as expected. Thanks." Amelia nodded. "And you, Ethan? How are you?" His throat tightened. "It's hard. I wanted to be a father more than anything." She touched his arm. "Men grieve too. It's okay to feel this." Grateful, he mumbled thanks. She offered coffee and he accepted, relieved by the distraction. As they sipped, Amelia's gaze sharpened. "What do you think of my husband?" Ethan froze, cut midair. Her directness unnerved him. He stalled, sipping, then chose honesty. "Lucas has done incredible things. He expanded into markets others thought impossible. His merger crisis strategy was brilliant." Amelia leaned in, but Ethan sighed. "It feels like it's all about Lucas now, not the company. There's talk of restructuring into a private entity he owns outright. It makes me uneasy." Amelia nodded thoughtfully. Then, abruptly, "What do you think of marriage, Ethan? Young couples living together indefinitely? Extramarital arrangements?" Startled, he answered firmly. "I'm old-fashioned. Commitment's essential, especially for kids. Affairs are appalling." Her eyes bored into him. "Have you ever been unfaithful to Nora? Offended?" he snapped. "Never." "Nor would I." "Not even tempted? Temptation's not action," he said. Amelia stood, extending her hand. "You're a good man, Ethan. I'm glad we talked. I hope we'll speak again soon." Clara appeared to escort him out. Amelia paused. "Take care of yourself, Ethan." He smiled faintly. "I will. Thank you." In the SUV, Ethan broke the silence. "Did you hear all that?" Clara smirked. "Amelia likes me listening. Makes her feel safe." Ethan shook his head. "That was the strangest conversation I've ever had." "Why me?" Clara glanced over. "Amelia's a sharp judge of character. She forms her own opinions. I don't know why she wanted to know you, but you passed her test, whatever it was." Ethan stared out the window, unease settling in. What did Amelia want? And what was Nora hiding? The truth he feared would change everything.